This is your no bullshit guide to a happier life. Quick, but not necessarily easy tips to help you to squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of your business and your life. My name is Helen Calvert. I'm a coach, a business owner and a parent, and I'm so happy to be here with you. I do swear occasionally, as the title suggests, so pop in your headphones if I'm not safe for little ears. Ready to go? Let's do this. This episode is sponsored by Claire Ferguson of With Agency. Claire works with brands and entrepreneurs looking to take their business to the next level, working as an extension of their team to amplify their business message and ensure that they are connecting with their ideal audience to drive success and business growth. With Agency uses social media ads to help brands access their ideal audience. Through training, support sessions, audits, and fully managed ad campaigns, Claire makes sure businesses are making the most of the opportunities available to them through paid social. This is just the doing. What Claire helps people to achieve is confidence that their marketing strategy will deliver, peace of mind that their budget is being spent wisely, and crucially, she takes away the responsibility for advertising, which gives them time back to focus on what matters to them. One of Claire's major objectives is to demystify digital ads. Ads don't need to be complicated, and for the few bits that are, Claire is there to help. To find out more, head to withagency.co.uk or follow Claire's links in the show notes for this episode. Hello, and welcome to this episode where we are talking about, do I need an app? So this whole season is about getting shit done. Productivity, organisation, how do we get done, all the things we want to get done, why are we doing them in the first place, and what will help us. So this is about, which is a question that you are going to come across because you're going to be hearing from other people who tell you that you do. If you are feeling overwhelmed and disorganized, please don't start with getting a new app. So straight away, do I need an app? Possibly, but not right away. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and disorganized, please don't start by getting a new app. Please start instead with my other episodes in this series. Go back to the first episodes of 2024, work through those. There are lots of apps that can help with taming the task list, and well-meaning people will enthusiastically tell you that their favourite app is the answer to all of your problems. Now, let's get a few truths out, shall we? Firstly, there is absolutely no app or system existing in this world that suits everybody. So when someone says to you, you need Monday, or you need ClickUp, or you need Trello, and don't worry if you've never heard of any of these, by the way, but when they say this, and it's like, it's the best thing ever, it'll totally sort you out. There is no app or system that exists in this world that suits everybody. So straight away, pinch of salt. The truth is that people who love these apps, and I love these apps, I'm one of these people, they're generally people who are already quite organised. So for me, something like Asana, which when you open it up can look so overwhelming, it actually mirrors my brain. It works with my brain. My brain has those kinds of ways of organising things within it already. This app is just a visual representation of that. So of course it helps me. You will have, no doubt, a different brain. So you might look at one of these apps and it might look totally alien, really confusing, really overwhelming. It doesn't gel at all with what's inside your head. So it's not going to work for you, is it? So firstly, always take with a pinch of salt anyone who tells you that the app they use is going to solve all your problems. I would say the first thing to ascertain is, do you share a similar brain with this person? If you do, then their information might be good. It might be worth pursuing. If you don't, forget it. That's nice. I'm glad that this app works for you. Carry on with your life. The other thing to remember that's really important is that any app or system or program or literally anything we use to try and organize ourselves or organize information, it is only as good as the way that you use it. I mean, AI is coming on in leaps and bounds. Who knows? Maybe one day there will be a robot that can literally sort your life out. At the moment, that is still a virtual assistant, like an actual human being. So there is no app that can just take a load of information and turn it into a sensible to-do list. It just can't. Doesn't have a brain to do that. So it's only as good as the information you put into it and the way that you use it. So if you are already overwhelmed and struggling to keep on top of everything, keeping on top of everything in an app and putting in the right information is going to be just as hard as keeping on top of everything and putting the right information into a notebook or into a spreadsheet. So if you are overwhelmed, deal with the overwhelm first. Don't imagine that diving into an app and getting thoroughly confused by it is going to be the answer. Self-care, stress processing, all the things I have talked about in numerous previous episodes. Go back to season 2, all the episodes about the tools we have in our toolkit, meditation, journaling, massage, all the self-care stuff. Deal with the overwhelm first before you even attempt to learn a new app or system. If you resonated with my recent episode about the ADHD or creative brain, if that's you, if that's the kind of brain you have, there is also the thing to bear in mind, which is that you are going to want to change up the way that you organise yourself every few weeks or every few months. That's just who you are. So there's not going to be anything that you use forever. You're going to want to change it up. So it's fine to use apps, it's fine to use anything you want, but I would avoid paying for anything, or I would avoid getting a subscription to something that you can't get out of, because in a few weeks or a few months, you're going to want to change what you use. That's just who you are, and that's okay. That's fine. The other thing to bear in mind, if you have ADHD tendencies, is that things that you can't see tend to not exist for you. So if you have everything saved in an app on your phone, on your computer, but you don't open that app, it's not going to be any good for you at all because you won't see it, so it won't do anything for you. So for you, things like wall charts, wall planners, whiteboards, post-it notes on a wall, all of those things, visual things that you can see as soon as you're in your workspace, probably going to be more helpful. So again, it's just not getting FOMO from all these people who say, oh, I have this app and it sorts everything out. That's great for them. It might not work for you. So having said all of that, there are some brilliant apps out. I use Asana for my business. I organise all of my work projects in Asana. That's ASANA. And I also use Trello, Trello. I use that for some of my personal stuff, my home life stuff. I've used it with clients. They do similar things in quite different ways in terms of the way they look is quite different, but they do similar things. And there are loads of other apps that do the same thing. Some of them are more complicated, some of them are less complicated. But what they allow you to do is split things into projects and tasks, which if you remember an episode a little way back in this series, I talked about having tasks on a task list, not projects, making sure you break projects down into tasks. So these apps make it easy to do that. In the same way that you might get a blank piece of paper and write, sort out the website, which is a project, and then underneath you might write down copy for the homepage, image for the About Me page, check the link on the contact page, those little tasks. In one of these apps, you would have a section for the website, and then all those little tasks would be underneath that section. You can assign deadlines to them, you can tick them off when they're done, you can rearrange them. So it's just a fancy way of doing what you might do on a piece of paper. And you can keep track of everything. You can automatically view your tasks in lots of different ways, which of course you can't do on a piece of paper. You can't suddenly change it into a different sort of visual format, which you can in an app. You might be able to color code things in an app, add some images, make it look pretty, make it, generally enjoy yourself, make it look beautiful. And that's great. I find these things really, really helpful. As I say, it's because they work with the way my brain already organizes things for itself. It just means I can put it all on an app. I don't have to hold so much in my head. But it does align with how my brain works. So when someone says to me, oh my God, I could never cope with that, look at the state of that, they obviously have a different brain to me. It's fine. Now, the downside of these apps is, as I say, they only work if you put in the right information. They only work if you look at them every day, because otherwise you could have deadlines in there that you're not even aware of because you haven't looked. And they only work if you do what they're sort of suggesting to you. Now, this brings us to our mindset block alert for this episode. Because yes, these apps work best if you do what they are suggesting to you, like you follow the deadlines or you do what they're saying is today's task. The app is not your boss. The app is not in charge of you. So I'm more speaking here to people who are already using these apps. When you go into them and you have lots of things that are in red or in bold or notifications are screaming at you and you've got loads of missed deadlines and you should have done all these things, right? The app is not your boss. You are not a bad person. You have not done anything wrong. You've not been naughty. You put those deadlines in and you can change them. I say this because what happens is if we miss loads of deadlines, because let's say something's happened in our life, the app doesn't know that you got taken to hospital or something happened to your child or you had to rush over to your mum's to sort something out. The app has no idea. You go into the app and there's all this red everywhere, all this missed deadlines. Oh no, it's okay. The app is not in charge. You are. You can just go in and change all the deadlines, figure it all out, move it all around. Because otherwise what happens is you think, there's so much stuff in there telling me I haven't done anything. I'm not going to look at it. And then we close the app and never look at it again. And then it's never going to work at all, is it? So if you do find an app that works for you, or you have one that you already like, please remember you are in charge, not the app. The app is just a tool. So go back through these episodes and listen to the one where I talk about writing everything down. So this is in this season, so 2024 episodes, and I talk about writing everything down. Now, if that was something that was helpful to you and you're like, yes, writing everything down, that's what I need to do, your app can be the place where you do that. So in that episode, when I say make sure you write down absolutely everything, for me, that's in my app. That's what I use it for. You might not need an app. You might want it written on a spreadsheet or in a notebook. Now, that doesn't make you any less organised than someone who uses an app. In fact, let's have 2 mindset block alerts in this episode. Let's treat ourselves. Our second mindset block alert is that if you don't use an app, that doesn't make you disorganized. People who use apps are no more fabulous, organized, amazing, professional, grown up than people who use a notebook with a unicorn on the front, a scrap of paper, a spreadsheet, whatever. The point is, what works for you? An app does not create organization. The way you use anything is what creates organization. You can be extremely organized with a notebook and an absolute mess with everything in Trello. So there is no right or wrong. If you would like to explore all these different apps that are available, you just need to search for project management app or task list app or to-do list. You'll find tons of them. Give it a go. Why not? You might find that it's an absolutely brilliant, bit of gold that sorts everything out for you. Or you might find that it's a complete disaster and it's not what you need at all. Do what works for you. And remember, if it works for a short while and then you want to change to something else, that is normal, that is fine. Nothing works forever, least of all organisation techniques. It's always good to change things up and change things around. So, do I need an app? The answer is possibly. If you want a way to write everything down, order it, and get it out of your notebook. But if you're looking for ways to overcome overwhelm, no, the app is not the answer. Other things are the answer. Self-care, stress processing, previous episodes of mine. Please be excessively kind to yourself, whatever system you are using to keep your shit together. And that way we can squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of life. Speak to you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Did you know that my first book is now available to purchase online? Check out the show notes for details of how to get your hands on a copy. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave me a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are up. If you would like to work with me one-to-one or follow more of my content, you can find out how in the show notes. See you next time.